Aloha, friends. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Grow Intentionally podcast. Today, I am so excited because I have a dear friend with me, Grace Neiman. She and I have gone back many years, and recently, while I was getting my certification in the emotion code energy healing, we reconnected, and she has done so much work with me, like relationships and finances. And she's got some incredible stories of how her life has transformed by doing energy healing. And so, without further ado, this is Grace. Welcome, Grace.
Aloha. How are you, Gina?
Aloha.
Hi.
So,
yeah.
Where do you want to start? Because, well, I love all of your stories, but I especially like the one where you reached out to me to find out what I was doing, and you were interested in it, but you didn't have enough money to put down to get serious and get started.
Right.
Can you share that?
Of course. I follow you on Facebook, and you have been doing like a lot of cool stuff with your friends back in the island. And I reached out to you and I said, hey, what are you up to? And you said, hey, I'm working on getting my certification for emotion code healing. You said, what's that? And you explained it to me, and I said, you know what, I would like to have a session. And then I asked you, okay, so how much? And I said, and back then I think we started working together in July.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, just like a little background, that I was depressed, for the first 6 months of 2021. And then come around July, I just hit rock bottom. So broke up with my partner of 6 years. I did not work on my real estate business, so I was dipping into my savings. Come mid-July, Gina, I had $2 to my account. $2. Wow. I wiped out all of my savings for my real estate commission. And so when I reached out to you and you told me how much, and I said, I'll come up with that money. What I can do, I am a Marine veteran. We are good at cleaning. So someone posted on Facebook, I need, like my house cleaned, whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. I'll go over there. And I cleaned, and they liked the way I work. So they gave me money. So I was able to pay for your first session. And I liked it. And I said, you know what? I made enough money so I can do this for 1, 2, 3 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
For 3 sessions, yeah. And so we did that. I think the first one, I wanted to work on the money first, but you said money will come later. What you got to work on first is yourself. Okay. And so we did that. And I set the intention is very important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have the intention to better yourself and to remove all of these negative emotions, it's just going to be going through the motion. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with that, after we were done, 3 days later, I felt better. We identified trapped emotions I didn't even know existed, And so I called you because within 10 days for our first session, I said, Gina, I manifested $8,600. And you were like, oh, I said, yes. And you said, how did you do that? And I said, for my VA disability, I've been waiting for almost a year. And finally they decided on it, and I got back pay. And I'm like, thank you, universe. I had $2 left.
Wow.
And so I was able to pay for my mortgage, my car, credit cards. Good. Right. And then we started working some more. And I said, you know what? I'd like to continue this work. I have money now. What else can we do? So like with that, we worked on my life heart wall, which was like several weeks, 6 to 7 weeks. I know we worked together for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then we worked on a heart wall with myself and my children, mm-hmm. Adriana and Alan. And where do you want me to start? Did you want me to start with my relationship? Did you want me to start with how my life changed? Did you want me to talk about all these trapped emotions that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like generational. Right. I did not know where this came from.
Well, let's go back to the beginning, because you were in a difficult place, in a depression, and you I think the first session was such an eye-opener for you, because you realized that you were kind of like needy in your relationship, and then you found self-love and awareness and acceptance, and from the first session you just kind of found your worth, and then boom, you felt confident. Like it was amazing how one minute you felt like so down, and the next minute your spirits were up again and back
Mhm.
to normal from one
No,
session.
it was like a little bit of improvement because
Mhm.
it used to take me 2 to 3 hours to detox from my job, and I just stare at the ceiling. I think we talked about that. You're right with the whole depression and everything. When everything in your life turned upside down, the only blessing that I had remaining were my children.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you're right. The first session, that was really like the little bit of improvement. So if I had a little bit of improvement, why wouldn't I keep going?
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And
So
then
thank you for noticing that you're like, oh, you were so down. I'm like, I was. Now it's like it's a different person. And now it's so nice to talk about it, like with all this kind of work. Yeah.
right, right. And I also think it was a great idea for you to break down your heart walls with your kids, because
Oh
even
my God.
that story of how the kid that your relationship used to be, and then
Mhm.
once the wall was down, how you started to interact with each other more, eat dinner, talk,
Yeah,
and
right.
mhm,
Especially my son, you know, and it's so nice now. It was so funny. Like when, how teenagers are, especially boys. I'd say, give me a
yeah,
hug. And he'd give me the side hug.
yeah, yeah.
And then, side hug, it's all content and everything.
Mm.
And then one time I said, okay, he goes, okay, mom, I'm leaving. And I'm like, okay, bye, son. And I gave him the normal side hug. And he stopped and looked at me and he said, you didn't give me a proper hug. And I'm like, you want a real hug? Okay, okay. So happy. And then, like before, my son would just get home from school, eat his cereal, and then go to his room.
Mhm.
And now he'll say, hey, what's up? I'm like, hey, what's up? and
Mhm.
and, and we talk, and like he would actually like open up now and tell me how he's feeling and what's going on.
Mhm.
And he's not shy to ask me for things, and we joke around. Before, it's just like he stays in his room, comes out to eat, goes back to his room.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
like it.
know. Same thing happened with my son, because I also worked on breaking down, actually worked on his life heart wall, and
Hmm.
different person. And I think it was perfect for him because he used to be an introvert, and I wanted him,
Hmm.
as he was going into college, to experience new relationships, new adventures, new activities, living on the mainland in a dorm on the campus. And, I didn't want him to be stuck in his room
Yeah, of
watching
course.
anime movies. So I broke down his life heart wall. And when he went to college, he was like a different person. Even now, like he'll call me up and stuff. And he was never like that before. So yay.
it's
So
it's
happy.
really good, especially when we start doing this kind of work. When you're like, what was it? Something like, I was looking at my notes a while ago.
Mhm.
Um, unreturned effort or something like that,
Oh, effort
or
unreceived.
effort
Effort
unreceived, and
unreceived.
something support, um, unreceived
Oh,
support, or
oh, is it
what was
unsupported, or is it
it was generational for me, like the lack of
love
support,
unreceived?
love unreceived.
Mm,
And for example, for that, if I can share this with your audience,
mhm.
we discovered that was 9 generation deep. Whoa. And I've always wondered, I'm like, how come I feel like this? And when
Mhm.
that was removed, I said, and I even told my kids, I said, this emotion code healing, it stops with me, it doesn't carry on with you. And that our ancestors are forgiven. Okay.
Mhm.
And they were like, that's kind of cool. I'm like, it is cool. I've seen the change in me,
Mhm.
and it's just, thank you, Gina.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well, Getting to know you as well along in the process and how, your parents came to the States and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
How different transitions in your life affected your emotions, like,
Right.
yeah, so that was really interesting and just uh really interesting to look at you because I didn't know a lot about you. And doing this work, we don't really have to dive deep, but some of
Yeah.
the things that came up that you shared with me around your dad and your mom's relationship.
Yeah. Yes, and also like you pegged it when you scared me at first, and I'm like,
Oh,
how do you know this? Like in my 20s, my relationship with my ex-partner, and you said love unreceived or effort not received, absorbed crying,
mm-hmm.
absorbed disappointment. I'm just like, and it happened here, here, here. I'm like, huh, how come you know this? And it was like this emotion code healing. It's like it's a different kind of modality, which I'm gonna tell you. Well, I'm not ashamed to say that, yes, I was diagnosed with depression. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was seeing a mental health counselor. Um, I started meditating, but
Mm-hmm.
something else was missing. And that's when I think the universe, like, I don't even remember how we met.
Through
We have not met in
Periscope,
person
right?
yet. Periscope, was it like
Yeah.
6 years ago? I don't
Oh,
remember. You were
seven,
still
eight.
working. You were still working for Delta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like circling back, it just the universe is just really good because everything had happened for a reason. I
Mm-hmm.
have my different way of trying to heal, right? And my mental health counselor actually said, what else are you working on? I said, oh, I started working with this healer, Gina from Kaneohe, over in Oahu, where I used to live. And I said, what do you think about that? Because mental health counselors, they're more on like the cognitive side,
Mm-hmm.
but then what you do is more on the emotion and energy side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so interested in that. And like now this kind of healing is like starting to become more known. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's starting to like come to the surface. And she said that's another type of healing modality. This is something that I cannot touch.
Mm-hmm.
When she said that, I'm like, oh. And she asked for your information. She's
Yeah.
like, who is that lady? I said, yeah, yeah. And she told me that she can tell a difference even in the way I spoke, and I guess the light in my eyes.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. So the different modalities. So what I want to say to your audience, yeah. So
Mhm.
if you're even taking meds, if you're seeing a mental health counselor and you still feel something else is missing, or you feel something and you don't know where it came from, try the emotion code healing, you know, because that's a different kind of modality. And when my mental health counselor said that, I accepted that. And I have told other veterans that
Mhm.
this is what I'm doing, and this is what it's done for me. In which one of my Marine friends, my boot camp sister, Brandy, I introduced you to her.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we're not going to talk about Brandy's experience, but I know her experience. But if you want to touch base on that, oh yeah, of course, because she and I are so close. We're like sisters, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. For that experience, it was new for me because we
Mm-hmm.
were working through her for her son, who was an
Yeah,
adult.
yeah,
And I had never done that before. And I was actually taught that we have to ask permission if it's an adult that we're working through. But for some amazing reason, I was able to connect with him and that everything worked out,
yeah.
for both of them because it was healing for her to
Yes,
do the work as well
and
for him.
and we have and the nice thing and weird thing and awesome thing all in the same, like when you roll it all together,
Mhm.
is that she sent me screenshots from, I know, when she had her session with you,
Yeah.
and you know how it takes like a couple of days to
Process.
process.
Mhm.
Yep. And then she would send me like a text message from her son, and then like, look at this, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Oh my god. So we get all excited and
Yeah.
all the ugly crying, because like I always tell you, the price of peace is priceless. You can always make money, but if you're not happy, okay, you can make money, you can clean, For crying out loud, we're in the United States. There's so many opportunities to
There
make,
are.
a quick, $100, whatever,
Mhm.
So how much is your piece? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Peace, Peace, not Piece, Peace,
Or not
peace, like
PEAS.
that. Yeah, got this piece. But I want to talk about also, because of the manifestation of the money.
Right.
Um, something had happened where in my real estate business, I just started getting referrals, and I hosted an open house, and somebody wanted me to help them find a house, and then money just started flowing in with the VA disability. And it's like, all better, all better.
Mhm.
And then I was hired with a federal agency. And then now with what I'm making their VA disability real estate, I am, imagine, from $2 left in the account. Now I've been making plus $2,800 more. Yeah, after paying all the bills because
Wow.
of
So
that
you're
real estate
over
and everything. Yeah, I'm over.
abundance
And so
of.
like, yeah, the abundance. And then with that abundance, I'm able to spread and help. And then it comes back again. And I'm not
Exactly.
expecting anything, but I'm just like, you know what? I have this when I didn't have anything. It stinks because you're like destitute and you're hopeless, and
Mhm.
that's not a good feeling. So I'm like, you know what? I'll help you a little bit. And of course, these people paid me money back, and it just feels good because I was in the boat of being broke.
Right.
And then as far as relationships, like one person, like one person comes in, one person, like, I'm not even looking. When I'm looking, where are you? But I'm not looking. Here you go. Here you go. And I'm like, wait, I didn't ask for this. It's just coming to me because
Yeah.
the flow is just really nice because of that releasing all of that crap.
Yes.
Oh
It's
gosh, it's
true.
like,
And even money, I mean, money is energy too.
yeah.
So what you're doing by giving and
Mhm.
being generous, that is actually karmic, and it allows money to come back to you. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of people just hold on to the money,
Mhm.
and that's living in scarcity. But when
Yeah.
money likes to move, just like energy likes to move.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you just keep it in motion, it always comes
Mhm.
back.
Oh
Just like
yeah.
love. Love comes
Mhm.
back too.
Love comes back. And like with this kind of work, and right now also, like, I'm taking a leadership program that
Mhm.
also teaches emotional intelligence. And so, gosh, with that, it's just like all of these healing and self-improvement, it's completely turned my life around.
Mhm.
If yeah, even like now you talk to me beginning of January 2022, and we looked 7 months back, it's like a striking difference.
Different.
Like what I'm saying about that also, the friends that I thought were my friends, they're just starting to fall off my
Mhm.
energy field. And
Right.
people that are like um in my energy vibration, like yourself,
Mhm.
it's starting to like attract to me because we've become friends over this kind of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna come visit you,
Yeah.
go back to Oahu, and it'd be nice. Yeah. And so what else did you want me to talk about my experience? Because I can talk all night
Oh, okay.
with
Well, did you find it
all of this.
interesting that you had the inherited emotions? So many of them.
So many of them. It's all from my dad, like most of them from my dad.
Yeah.
And this like generations deep.
Right. Wasn't it the story where your mom actually up and left your dad in the Philippines? Is that right? That wasn't
No,
you.
maybe no, that wasn't me.
Who was it? Hmm.
Who was it? I don't know. But we were talking about like the prenatal emotions.
Yeah.
The unsure. Like, was it unsure? Oh my gosh! I was just leafing through my notes. I have, yeah, because I was just looking through that today, and I was like,
Huh?
Wow, that's interesting. Wow, that's interesting. Oh, see, here it is. Here it is.
And
See, I
I
knew I
think
have
is really
my
cool too
organized
is
style.
you get an insight of your life and some of the
Mhm.
things you don't even remember. I just came out of a session with somebody who had three emotions from when they were 1 years old, and they don't remember that time, but our
Oh,
subconscious mind remembers everything.
yes.
So
Remember when I was about, we remember it was when I was 3 years old, and I remember like my dad was just joking, and he said, this is your new family, and it was like a relative, and he was leaving, and he thought it was funny, and I'm like, I remember now, like screaming and crying because he was my hero, you know,
yeah.
and I was like, man, I didn't realize that abandonment affected me all these years until you identify, like, okay, so what happened when you were about 3 or 4? And I'm like, uh, and then I remembered,
Yeah.
um, so like I have a lot right here: love unreceived, uninherited longing for generations, for example. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna tell everyone, like, these are my trapped emotions. You gotta love me anyway, please. I'm just kidding. So for example, okay, so who I want to address right now, whoever's watching,
Mhm.
would be ladies who are expecting.
Mhm.
Okay, because when we did our healing for my daughter, my firstborn, I didn't even know like I had these trapped emotions until we identified them.
Mhm.
So for example, prenatal helplessness, prenatal hopelessness, and then there's like absorbed indecisiveness, yeah, inherited also, and a lot of absorbed and shared. So what I want to say about that is that you have to really be aware if you're feeling something that will, it's in your DNA, so it's going to pass to your baby. So if you're feeling something, ladies, if you're pregnant, you're feeling something, you don't know what it is, maybe it's hormones, maybe it's not, seek out Gina, emotion code healer, and just, check it out. Even just one session and say, why am I feeling like this? I don't want to feel like this.
You know
And
what,
so that was really eye-opening.
Grace,
Like
I
a
haven't
shared
told you.
ruthless. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So talking about prenatal emotions, my sister
Yeah.
is pregnant now, and she's
Mm.
been going through a lot of stress because they had to move and a lot of stress. And so
Yeah.
I actually worked on my unborn nephew in her womb
Oh,
and took out all of the prenatal emotions that he
wow.
was feeling, and that he
What
was
kind of
absorbing
feelings
from.
was he what was he feeling?
Yeah.
What was he feeling?
What was he feeling?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was feeling heartache. He was at least two things of heartache and sadness. And the reason is my sister had a situation where she moved back in with my mom, and my mom is her health isn't the greatest right now, and it was
Right,
such a
right.
difficult decision for her to move in with my mom because she knows she's going to see my mom, in this
Yeah,
situation. And so
right, right.
my sister feeling heartache towards my mom's health
Mm.
affected her baby.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
mine, it's like helplessness, worthless. I don't want my child to feel helpless. And it's absorbed and prenatal. You don't want your child to feel like that, you know?
Right.
And then just like really quickly, oh, wow.
And
And for
oh,
Alan, it's like 2 sessions, and he's got inherited and prenatal also, and a lot of absorbed confusion, grief,
mhm,
worry, generations D. Oh my gosh, inherited fear.
yeah.
You don't want this for yourself. You don't want this for your kids. So I am just really grateful because people don't know my kids, but I know my kids.
Mhm,
Believe me or not, whatever. I see my relationship with my children. I see my relationship with money,
mhm,
with jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
business coming in. Yeah, who are you, Grace, to like that I would listen to? You know what? Ask the people that I see every day what has changed. And okay, there's
Right.
something there's something to this.
Right. And I
There's
think
oh my
it,
God.
I think a lot of it is when we are living with these trapped emotions that are low vibrational frequency, like shame and guilt and fear,
Yeah.
they keep us heavy and constricted in our lives. But when we start to release them and we start our energy vibration starts and frequency starts to raise up, we start to
Yes.
move into the more of the area of opportunities and possibility and more
Yeah.
love. And
Right. Right.
it starts to come to us easily, it starts to flow to us. And I know just a few months ago you transitioned into a new career that was paying you more, like it
Yeah.
wasn't, it was easy for you. You went on vacation to
Yeah.
Florida. I'm gonna
I'm
go
like,
lay on the
I'm
beach.
going to Florida. Oh, I'm being offered this job. Oh, okay. Well, how much? I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
And then when I was in Florida, yes, we've been getting your newsletters and would like for you to sell our house. Oh, wow. So a year and a half of sending my real estate newsletters.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, every month we look forward to it in the blue envelope.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow. And then, former clients, hey, I have a referral for you, buyer. And so, even Gina, like being desperate before, I'm like, I'll just take anything, 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 right?
Right.
Scarcity. Two, I don't work with all buyers. I'll only work with buyers if they are a direct referral.
Mm.
And I will only touch it if it's this amount of money for whatever they're buying. Because now I know my worth, I know my time, and also like I have to spend it with my kids,
Mhm.
right? Oh, and also I wanted to let you know, ever since we started doing the emotion code healing,
Mhm.
like when I'm talking on the phone, and my daughter would say goodbye because she has to go to work or school, whatever. It
Mhm.
used to be just a post-it note and she'll hand it to me that she's leaving so she doesn't interrupt me. And it became, hold on 1 second, I'm going to put you on hold, or hold on 1 second, my daughter is leaving, I want to hug her and tell her goodbye.
Aw.
So and so I'm like, come here, there's someone
Yeah.
from like, give mama a hug. And then I'd hug her and, okay, text me when you get there. She's 20 and I'm still acting like that, whatever. Then I get back on the phone and the person said, you know what? That is very important, because who am I? Who am I for you to keep talking to and your kid just leaves? I said, exactly. What if something happens? What if, and
Right.
and the lady actually told me, she's like, I wish I could have done that with my son because I always shoot him away and he got killed. And so
What?
ever since, mhm,
Oh my
mhm.
gosh.
And her son was like killed a year ago. And so like I meant to put her on mute, first of all,
Mhm.
because this was a potential client, and I didn't. And I'm talking to my daughter, like, and I was even saying, no road rage. Text me when you get there. Be
Wow.
careful. Mama loves you. Give me one more hug. you know, like I'm treating her like she's 5, but this emotion code like makes you vulnerable,
Yeah.
and they become more loving and happy.
Right. And people
Yeah,
are attracted to that. You become a
yeah.
magnet.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. So thank you for your work.
Well, thank you for being my number one client. I tell you, always sending referrals, and you even, helped a friend get what she needed. So that
Of
was really
course.
sweet of you.
Well, the abundance, like I said, if you're abundant, someone needs help that's really close to you and she's hurting, she doesn't know what to do.
Mhm.
If I said, if nothing else, try this. And she trusts me with my life. She's like, Grace, I will do what you're saying with whatever kind of healing you're doing that you've worked on. I trust it.
Yeah.
Connect me to Gina. And I said, okay. And then she was just like floored. And I said, you know what? I'm going to gift you 2 more sessions. And
Mhm.
she was ugly crying. I
Oh
said,
my God, she was ugly crying. I
she
have
was
never
so
experienced
happy.
that before. She was
She said,
so heartbroken and
she
around what
was.
was going on. And she just spent the whole session crying the first time. And I could feel that her energy was very, very in fear and, grief, lots of heavy emotions. And
Yes. Yeah.
and then by the second, even the second, she's already feeling better. Her crying stopped. She was feeling more optimistic. I mean, her world just opened up and changed.
That's
It's like the
exactly
sun
what
came
she's
out from behind the clouds.
kind of like me, because the first session, even like with her first session, she goes, okay, am I supposed to be tired? I'm like, yes. Drink a lot of water. Did you drink a lot of water before and during and after the session? She's like, yes. And I'm like, just take it easy. This is being processed out of you. And she's like, okay. And then, she'd send me a screenshot. And I'm like, look at this. And I'm like, this just happened. I cannot believe this. And we're like, we're like little kids on the phone. Like, oh my God, are you serious? Did that just really happen? That was fast.
Yeah.
That was fast. And so, yeah, I mean, like I just talked to her the other day, and the relationship, she and her son are talking,
Great.
but she doesn't, yeah, you should touch base with her, because
Yeah.
she's changed as well, you
Yeah.
know? So even like her money situation also is getting better. So this work of yours, I guess it's like, you won't know the difference in your life until you try it.
Yeah.
Don't knock if you don't try it. That's
Yeah.
what I say, because another friend of mine, remember Lori, he did one session,
Yeah.
and she called me and she said, okay, after my session with Gina, I drank a lot of water. I removed my shoes and I just walked around the grass, and I felt 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
So whatever she's doing, that's pretty effing cool.
Yeah. Oh, how about when you had to get your surgery
Yeah.
and the
Yes.
pain
And
went away?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Remember we were talking about like the pain level, and then you
Mhm.
started like working on it. It was
And you
like, it took
couldn't
a whole
move
session.
it
Oh my gosh.
before.
Yeah. Before I could not at all. It was too tight. And then after that one session, I'm like, oh, and I don't know if we had that on, we didn't record that Zoom, did we?
No, but oh
Oh,
no, I don't
what
think
a
so.
shame. Oh, what a shame. Because you can see my face, that I'm like, oh my God, I cannot even move it. And
Yeah.
then you start doing your thing, and I'm like, oh, I can move it.
Yeah.
Because the emotions, that's another thing that it was so interesting. When, like you would do your, you do what you do, whatever. And
Yeah.
you were like, there are some questions where you ask what body part, is it left
Oh,
or right?
right.
Is it like, you do like the one
Above the
second,
waist, below the waist. Yeah.
yeah. And then you say, is it the left side or right side?
Mhm.
And all of my emotions, negative emotions, were all on the right side.
Mhm.
And they were from my father's side.
Right.
Weird. And
Yeah.
I'm left-handed. So like a lot of my pain is on my right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and even like, oh man, if I can just send people my notes. These are all my notes from all my healing.
Oh yeah.
Pages of it. Yeah, I rewrote it because I'm just like writing really frantically. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, I want to talk about relationships, like,
Okay.
like a personal, like a love relationship. So for example, I was with Sarah for 6 years, and we broke up, and I said, hey, you know what? I'm hurting so bad over this 6 years. So normally that will take at least a year, but with the emotion code healing, I flushed it out. Like it took me like what, a week, 2 weeks. And
It
then
was
I did a
pretty quick.
it was pretty quick, because I remembered did a I did a Facebook Live for an open house that I was doing. And that was the first time that I did not stutter. And even some of my friends that really know me, what happened? And I'm like, what do you mean what happened? You look alive. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's like your eyes, and you didn't go, it just flowed. Did you practice? I'm like, no, I just went. And I was like, I know what it is, because we released all of that, because I was so broken, remember?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to like share real quick. So if, for your audience, if you are going through a breakup and you just cannot get over the heartache and you're so depressed, try this kind of, healing. Because this is really something that it's higher than your cognitive. It's higher than your, it's inside you. It's in your DNA. It's kind of like a detox, yeah. So like with this absorbed defensiveness, absorbed crying, absorbed anger, absorbed failure, common anxiety, effort unreceived. Oh, this really freaked me out because you were able to pinpoint what year, because you said, what happened when you were 41? You had effort unreceived. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? And I told you what happened.
Yeah.
But we're not going to tell, like, we're not going to get in the nitty gritty, but,
we're not going to dish, but
we're not going to dish. Yeah. And there's absorbed humiliation, absorbed abandonment, common longing. Oh my goodness. But that along with a love relationship that only took one session. And we always went back and like, okay, does she still have a heart wall against me? And you're like, okay, hold on. And then remember when I had like a phone call at 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
And then after I called like 5 times. I'm like, who else would call me at this late at night?
Right.
And then we identified who and what the emotion was. And I'm like, oh, geez, come on.
Yeah.
Yep. And I did one also for like this girl I was going to start dating. She was pushing me away and we did the emotion code healing. And she turned around and even now she likes me. She doesn't turn me away. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So relationship, money, life in general, if nothing else is working, your pills are not working, you think your mental health counselor is just wasting your 1 hour, asking you the same questions and nothing's changing. Even your meds, you're changing your meds and nothing is happening. Seriously, just try. You've got nothing to lose but like an hour and a few dollars that you know what? Okay, here's what I told my friends. I'm like, you guys are so worried about the one session, but you blow that plus some when you go out to the movies. You get your dinner. So I said, this is how I said it. You go to dinner, you go to the movies, and then you get your snacks when you just ate dinner. These 3 that you just spent money on, that's like one session for emotion code healing. I said, isn't your peace worth it? Why don't you give up a movie, a dinner, and snacks?
Yeah.
And get your ASS fixed. You can thank me later. And people have thanked me. People have thanked me for that. And they're like, oh, that information's pretty good. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for you helped out my sister too.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I remember.
How can I forget my sister? If Christine, if you're watching this, sorry. Yeah. And
she was retiring, right? From the military, and she didn't know what she was doing.
She separated. She served 11 years in the Air Force. So not really retired. She separated. And remember, we didn't talk. We didn't talk for, 6 years. And when we did healing, and my mom came up, and then we have this absorbed. This really freaked me out because you said you have absorbed hopelessness from your mom, and your sister is affected by it. Do you have a sister? What? What is this? Like, I'm hanging up now because you're freaking me out, lady. And I told my sister about it, and I said, hey, I know we have not talked. I did emotion code healing. And this right here, I want to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
What have you felt? I said, we share an emotion that has something to do with mom. it's hopelessness. Tell me about why you feel hopeless. She told me, she started crying.
Mhm.
And I said, Christine, I love you. You know that although we did not speak for a long time, I want you to get in touch with my healer. And she did. I think you guys hit it off too.
That's so
And she
funny
said,
that you call me your healer.
yeah, I know you're my healer. You've become like Ohana friend. I'm gonna come back to Kaneo and come visit. Oh, I miss living there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So that, oh my gosh, so I've referred my sister Lori and Brandy.
Brandy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm gonna recommend my friend Lindsay because we were talking a while ago. So, what are you looking over there?
I swear I just saw somebody walk up my stairs, but probably not. Anyway,
Anyway,
distraction.
yeah.
So thank you. I
Oh,
enjoyed
you're
all of the stories that you shared.
welcome. Oh,
You
thank you,
know,
Gina, for being a life changer. That 3 months of working together, that's how can I thank you? You know?
you are sending so many friends my way, and I appreciate that.
Aw,
Yeah, thank you.
you're welcome. You are welcome. Mwah!
Mwah,
Got it. That's what I used to do. Got it.
mwah.
You know?
Okay, viewers, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to all of the amazing stories that Grace has just shared with us. She's done the work. She's still doing the work. She's really into growing herself, and it's and also sharing this and everything with her friends because she sees it working in her life. So if you'd like to learn more about energy healing, emotion code, or any other questions you have regarding your life, your body, and physical pain, emotional pain, whatever it is, and maybe you just want to raise your frequency and feel light again. I'm your girl. You can call me your healer too. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again on another episode. Thanks, Grace.
You're welcome. Aloha, Gina.
Aloha, everybody.